We're going to start off laying on our backs. We're going to have knees bent and feet flat. Feet are about hip distance apart. We're going to bring one hand to the belly and one hand to just the lower chest here. Closing your eyes if you want to, and just settling into your mat. Starting to deepen your breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Take just a quick scan of your body, starting from your feet, how your feet feel on your mat, if there's more weight in your heels, if there's more weight in the outsides of your feet, on your toes. Moving upwards, how is your low back on the mat? Does it feel like one side has more pressure than the other? Does it feel like it's tilting up or tilting down? Appreciating and noticing that natural curve in our low back. Maybe it's not in contact with the mat. Moving up to your rib cage, seeing if there's any differences side to side. Just observing that, not wondering at all what that's about, but just taking note. Noticing your arms and shoulders, how they feel on the mat. If it feels like one shoulder is kind of up higher than the other. And then lastly, the back of your head, which part of it is touching your mat. And just checking in with our bodies as we start to move. On the next exhale, I want us to start to bring a little bit of work in through the center of the body. So as you exhale, I want you to think about just drawing those ribs down and in a little bit. Maybe feeling some activation underneath your hands. And then inhaling and just releasing. As you exhale and activate, pulling your belly button in, there should be no change in your low back. So your low back isn't actively pressing down. It's just maintaining that natural curve. Should almost feel like your rib cage is connecting towards the top of your hips. On this next exhale, I want us to hold that activation in your center. Feel your rib cage kind of tucking down. And then continue normal breathing here. So just expanding through the rib cage, maybe not as deep as before, but appreciating that we can activate our core and still continue to breathe normally. On this next one, hold that activation in your core, keeping your hands right where they are. And very slowly start to straighten out your right leg along your mat. Keep it kind of light so that it's able to slide. And then exhale, bend it back up to the top. We're going to switch sides now. Left leg slow and controlled, just slides right out straight along your mat. And then exhale it back up to the top. Keep switching sides. And see if you can bring some of this work into your low abs here. Good. Making sure that you're not pressing down with your opposite foot. Your feet stay relatively light on your mat. On this last one, whatever leg is straight, hold it there and straight. Squeeze that leg and lift it to about the height of the opposite knee, and then slowly lower down. Good. Raising it up, squeezing that leg, and slowly lowering. 3 more like that. Again, trying your best not to counter press using the opposite foot. Awesome job. Last one. Good. Bend that up. Extend the other leg straight. Keep the work in that low ab section here. Squeeze the straight leg and lift about to the height of the opposite knee and lower down. Good. 3 more just like that. Keeping the spine neutral. Feeling work right underneath your hands. Perfect. Bend that leg back up. Feet again resetting to hip distance apart. From here, relax your hands down by your sides. Inhale through the nose, and as you exhale, we're going to start a little pelvic tuck here. So, tuck your tailbone under, and just warming up that low back. Let it relax. Exhale, tailbone lifts, pressing the low back down, and then inhale, release down. On this next one, slowly starting to lift up one vertebrae higher, and then back down. And I want you to ask yourself if you can feel your low abs kicking in as you scoop up. Think about that sensation of trying to zipper up a tight pair of pants, scooping from here. Maybe consciously asking these muscles to work. On this next one, pausing wherever it feels most comfortable for you, whether that's halfway, whether that's all the way. Hold here and breathe. We're going to do little pulses up higher and faster towards the ceiling, squeezing, pulsing for your last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly roll down. On this next one, lifting all the way back up towards the top or halfway, wherever it feels best. On this next one, we're going to slowly start to lower the hips while rocking side to side. Think about as if a leaf is falling off of a tree. Shift your weight into one foot and then shift your weight into the other foot. As you do this, slowly lowering the hips. So think about that leaf just gently rocking and falling down. Again, exhale, lift back up. We're going to do that 2 more times. So at the top here, starting to just rock side to side as you slowly lower. Good, last one. Exhale, lift up. Pausing at the top, and then rocking. Knees stay relatively still, it's just really the pelvis that's tilting. Awesome job. From here, take your right ankle and cross it over your left knee. Let that right knee open up wide. We're just going to take a few rocks side to side. Seeing how that feels in the front of the hip or for the hips. Keep that foot ankle crossed. Square out the hips again. We're going to lift in this figure 4 bridge. So exhale, press down through the left heel and lifting both hips equally up towards the top. Slowly lower back down. 2 more like that. Exhale, digging into that heel. And slowly lower. Perfect. Uncrossing that foot, taking the left foot now over the right knee, letting that knee open to the side, and just some gentle rocking. Whatever feels good for you here. Taking it back to the center, squaring off those hips, digging now down through the right heel as we lift both hips. Squeezing and pausing at the top, and slowly lower. 2 more. Exhale, lift. Still trying to maintain that segmental roll. Perfect. Uncross that foot, hug your knees into your chest real quick, and give yourself a nice hug. We're going to take our legs right out into tabletop. So knees directly over the hips. Maybe you can see your toes right on top of the knees here to make sure they're in a good position. And make sure your knees aren't coming in towards your chest. Really make sure that they're right over the hips with this part totally vertical. From here, take a few nice deep breaths. Keeping this same neutral spine here. From here, we're going to start to hinge from the hip with one side. Only go as low as you can, keeping this same position of your spine, and then exhale, bring it back up to the top. Alternating, slowly hinge down. The knee isn't bending anymore, and hinge up. Inhale down, exhale up. It is totally fine if you're not tapping that heel down to the mat. I want you to be very, very aware of your low back here. Last one on each side. Good. Hug your knees into your chest again. Maybe taking little circles clockwise and counterclockwise. Perfect. From here, bring those legs back into tabletop. Knees directly over the hips. From here, we're going to take one side, both knee and ankle, dropping them slowly out to the side. Keep frozen with the other leg. You're only going as far as you can, maintaining that control, raising it back up. Alternating sides, knee and ankle, slowly fall out to the side. Anchor this hip down to your mat. Maybe your hands stay on your hip bones to monitor what's going on here. Last one on each side. Perfect. Hug your knees into your chest. We're going to do one more exercise in that tabletop position. This time, we're going to be squeezing in towards our chest. So, keeping your knees bent at 90, we're just going to bring knees in towards us and try to lift that tailbone up. You can press down through your arms with this one if you need to. Exhale, pull in, lift up. Focusing on those lower abs here. Perfect. 2 more. Exhale, feeling that work, using your low abs to pull those hips up. Last one. Perfect. Hug your knees into your chest one more time. From here, take your hands underneath your right knee, clasping your hands together. Exhale, we're going to straighten that leg out as high as you can, as straight as you can, pressing the back of your knee against your hands, and then bend it back down. If you're able to get all the way straight, start with your knee hugged in a little bit closer. Exhale, push, and reach. Noticing maybe you're able to get a little bit straighter each time. A nice contract, relax for those hamstrings. Exhale, push, pull. You might notice some shakiness coming in through the leg. Good. Switching sides, both hands underneath the left knee, right behind it. Hug that knee in towards your chest. Exhale, straighten as much as you can. And bend back down. Exhale, push and reach. Inhale, release. Last one, hold straight, pressing the back of the knee against your hands. And relax it down. Perfect. Now that we've unlocked those hamstrings a little bit, we're going to take both legs up towards the ceiling. Good. And we're going to squeeze heels together, toes apart. You can't really see my feet, but heels together, toes apart. And we're going to be making little circles here. So going clockwise, back up to the top, pausing, and then counterclockwise. Good. Circle down and around, back up to the top, and then reversing directions. If you want to, you can make it more challenging by making your circle a little bit bigger. Last one in each direction. Corkscrew. Good. Hug your knees into your chest. Perfect. We're going to take a nice release for the low back. So hands are going to stay right on our shins here. Your hands are going to pull in towards your chest while your knees push away from your chest. Both of those happen at the same time. So exhale, push, pull. Feel a nice opening sensation for the low back. And then relax down. Exhale, pull in with the hands, push away with the knees. And relax. Last one. Exhale, push, pull. Get that opening. Find that length. And relax. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and transition onto our side. So, rolling to one side, doesn't matter which one since we'll do both. Make sure you are all the way onto your side here. And we're going to set ourselves up with our head either resting in our hand or down on your arm, whatever feels best. Hips are stacked one on top of the other. Your top hand, I would encourage you to be on your top hip, somewhere other than your mat. And then from here, we're going to engage the core, lifting belly button up, and top leg is going to reach up to the height of the hip. Scoot up a little bit. So from here, flex the foot just a little bit. We're going to start to rotate through the hip. So toes up, heel down, and then toe down, heel up. Nothing else is really moving here except this hip socket. Just like you're spinning along an axis running through your leg. Noticing and appreciating these two positions. The top hand monitoring so that your hip is not rocking over or rocking forward. They stay stacked. On this last one, hold with toe up, heel down. We're going to start to sweep that straight leg forward a few inches and sweep it back a few inches. Keeping that rotation, keeping that external position with toe up, heel down. Inhale forward, exhale back. On this last one, hold with your foot right up underneath you here. What we're going to do is bend through the top knee into 90 degrees. Exhale, push back down. We're still in that external rotation. From here, our knee is kind of pointing at 45 degrees. Every time you exhale and push to straight, think about also finding more length through the leg. On this last one, hold bent at 90 degrees. We're just going to hinge down from the hip again, tapping heel, hinging back up. So knee doesn't bend anymore. We're just hinging from the hip and back up. This one should feel really challenging. You should feel everything right back behind here burning. Last one. Perfect. Relax the top leg. Either let that knee fall in front with knee down, or you can take foot flat, knee pointing up, if that feels more comfortable. From here, we're going to focus on that bottom leg. Exhale, squeeze and lift up as high as you can, and slowly lower down. Exhale, lift, pause, and release. Reminder to, again, engage the core, pull belly button in. On this last one, hold lifted. We're just going to slide that whole foot back a few inches, slide it forward a few inches. The leg itself isn't lowering or lifting. We're maintaining it and just sliding it along a horizontal line. On this last one, find the middle again, just hold here and breathe. See if you can lift up 1 inch higher, squeezing for 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower that leg, don't plop it down. Top leg comes back up and over. We're gonna roll over onto our back. Whatever leg is on top, that ankle is gonna cross over the knee for a nice figure 4 stretch. Grabbing up and under if that feels good. Taking some rocking and finding that sweet spot. Playing around with it. Maybe it feels better to push that knee away. Maybe it feels better to hug it in. Maybe you want to crisscross more at the knees. What feels good as a stretch for one person might not feel as good for the next. So see what feels good for you. Taking some nice deep breaths through here, appreciating the work that we just did for the hip. From here, when you're ready, you can either roll over onto your other side, or you can do a nice little 180 head at the other end of your mat to set it up the exact same way for the other side. So again, head resting either on your hand or on your arm. Belly engaged and active, everything above the waist relatively still. Top hand somewhere other than your mat, and then top leg lifted at the height of your hip, reaching it long. From here, starting to rotate through the hip socket, toe up, heel down, and then toe down, heel up. Trying to isolate this movement, trying not to include anything else. This rotation doesn't just happen at the ankle. Your kneecap should be pointing up and down as well. On this last one, hold here with toe pointing up, heel pointing down, maintaining that position as we sweep forward a few inches and sweep and squeeze back a few inches. As we do this, making sure that we're not opening and closing through the chest. We're not opening and closing through that top shoulder. Squeezing that leg. On this next one, take it right underneath you, bending into 90 degrees. Exhale, push down and lengthen. Inhale, bend in. Knee is about 45 degrees. Down and lengthen. Really starting to feel this work right here in the glutes. Another reminder for the core. On this last one, hold here, keep it bent at 90, hinge down from the hip, maybe tapping that heel kind of towards your calf, and hinge back up. Last two, and last one. Awesome job. That leg is tired. Relax the top leg down, either knee down in front of you or hugging in with that foot. Bottom leg is going to exhale, lift, squeeze, and hold, lowering down slowly. Exhale, lift, pause, and lower. Really trying to get that last inch up. Sometimes I think that I'm all the way at the top, but I can actually squeeze 1 inch higher. On this last one, hold lifted. Slide that leg back a few inches. Slide it forward a few. Not lowering or lifting, just maintaining the height and drawing along that horizontal line. On this last one, just hold in the center, squeeze and hold, lift up 1 inch higher, breathing here for 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower that leg, don't let it just fall down. And then taking that top leg back up and over, whichever leg is on top, that ankle is going to cross in your figure 4. So ankle over knee, let that knee be wide, maybe pushing it away, maybe pulling it in, maybe rocking, seeing what feels good for you. Making sure that if you're reaching up and under that leg, that you're not straining the neck, the chin isn't jutting upwards or forwards. Keeping your head, neck, and shoulders relaxed down. Take some nice deep breaths. Every time you exhale, let those hips melt down a little bit further. Perfect. When you're ready, reach your arms and legs long away from the center of the body, as if you've just woken up, maybe flexing the feet. And from here, we're going to roll right over onto our stomachs, keeping that length as we do. Arms reaching long, legs reaching long as well. Head stays neutral, it's not poking up and it's not down. From here, lift your belly button up and off of your mat, engaging your core. We're going to lift opposite arm, opposite leg, reach it long first, and then hover. Slowly lower. Switching sides, it should feel like someone's pulling you in 2 opposite directions away from the center of your body. No pressure or tension in the low back. If you do, make sure that that belly button stays engaged, your core stays active, and that we're reaching more so long than up. Either staying here or maybe speeding it up a little bit. Maybe lifting and lowering, lifting and lowering. From here, you can stay with this speed, or hovering both arms, both legs, a flutter kick for swimmies. Fast swimmies here, breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax down. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders. We're going to press back in child's pose. Taking the knees wider if you want to, sitting back on your heels and reaching your arms long. Rest your forehead down and just take some nice deep breaths. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale, relax your belly. Relax your hips. Relax your pelvic floor. Another deep breath. And just let it go. Take your left hand underneath your right armpit, thread it through, looking towards that side so that your left ear is down on your mat. Breathing into your upper back ribs there. Maybe a nice stretch for the shoulder as well. Taking that arm back through and straight, taking the right hand now underneath the left armpit, looking towards that direction. Let your head rest down. Nice deep breaths in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Think about your rib cage expanding, letting air fill every little space. Good. Hand back out front. From here, we're going to come up onto our hands and knees. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, shoulder distance apart. Knees directly underneath the hips, hip distance apart. From here, let's take a few cat-cows, rounding through the back, tucking the tailbone, looking toward your belly, and then dropping everything down, looking slightly upwards. Doing what feels nice for you here, whether that's rocking forward, rocking back, rocking side to side. Making this your own. On this next one, finding right in the middle, finding a flat back. So we've established a round back and an arched back. Find that middle ground, find that flat back. From here, make sure that your head is also in line with the rest of your spine. So, lengthen the back of your neck. Bring your chin down a little bit. Face is facing right in between your two hands. Pull your belly button up and in. And we're going to take a tap from one hand to the opposite shoulder without moving much else. And place it back down. Exhale, tap, opposite shoulder, and back down. Seeing if you can do this very deliberately with a lot of awareness in your center. Make sure that you're pressing through your shoulders, not sinking down into them. Last one on each side. Good. From here, we're going to come down, either staying on your hands for plank, or I'm going to come down onto my forearms. If you're doing your forearms, I would encourage you to have your forearms parallel instead of hands clasped together. Maybe palms are up towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to push down hard through our hands or forearms, extend one leg, extend the other, and we're just here for a nice hold to start. Think about your head again in its position, tucking your tailbone under, and just breathing here. See if you can hold for 3 more seconds. 2 and 1. Relax down, taking a little break, relaxing your shoulders for a moment. This next plank variation is going to be a little micro bend through both knees. So if you want to watch first, it looks like this. So we're in our plank position. Nothing changes with the hips, but we're just going to take a little bend in both knees and straighten back up all the way. So little bend and squeeze. You don't have to tap your knees down onto the mat. Just hips stay still. So try that out. Little bend. And ask yourself what feels different between these two positions. Few more like this. What is working hard when your legs are straight? What is working hard when your knees are bent? Last one. Good. Relax it down, maybe coming back into child's pose. On this next set of planks, we're going to go ahead and take one foot up, squeezing it, and lowering back down. Switching sides, lift, squeeze, and lower. Making sure that as you lift, you're not arching your back. Last one on each side. Perfect. Drop your knees down and come back onto either your hands or knees, or you can stay on your forearms for this. We're going to take our right leg nice and long. Pull your belly button in. Squeeze and lengthen. And then slowly lower. Squeeze and lengthen. Slowly lower. See how nothing changes in my upper body. No arching. On this next one, lift and hold, little pulses up towards the ceiling. For 5, 4, 3, 2, hold lifted. We're going to do kind of like a rainbow shape. So tapping down and across to one side of your mat, and then up and cross to the other side of your mat. So each time going back into that upward position before we cross down and over. Perfect. Last one here. Good. Rest that right knee down. Left leg lengthens and straightens. Exhale, squeeze up and down. Exhale, lift and lengthen and lower. Keep that belly button pulling in. Keep that back neutral. On this last one, hold lifted, little pulses up, up. For 3, 2, 1, hold lifted. Take that leg all the way across your mat, and then take it all the way to the other side of your mat, reaching up before you cross. Trying your best not to shift your weight too much through your arms, trying to stay tall through that bottom hip. Keep thinking about as if someone is pulling your leg long away from you. Last one here. Let that left knee come in. We're going to come off of the knees by swinging the legs forward and around. Take a nice forward fold here. So shake out those legs a little bit. And then start to fold forward, reaching out as far as you can, relaxing your head, neck, and shoulders, maybe shifting from side to side. Flexing the feet if you can, and again, folding forward. Perfect. From here, we're gonna stack our spine up, sitting up as tall as we can. Hands are gonna come out front. Start to tuck your tailbone down. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. And slowly roll back only as far as you can, knowing that we have to sit back up at the top. So lower to a point, and then slowly start to peel back up, restacking your vertebrae one on top of the other. Sitting up as tall as you can, and then tucking under tailbone first, and then rounding. Pull that belly button in, relax your shoulders away from your ears again. Lowering to a point where you feel like you can lift back up. Restacking the spine until you're all the way up on your sits bones. One more like that. On this last one, fold forward again. Good. Widen your feet to about the width of your mat. Sit up nice and tall again, pulling up and out of the waist, belly button pulling in to support you. Knees can be bent a little bit if they need to be. Arms are going to come out wide to the sides. Lift and lengthen. Exhale, twist, 2, 3, and center. Exhale, twist, 2, 3, and center. Think about as if you're wringing out a towel. That towel lengthens as it twists. On this next one, same thing, except hands come behind the head. Exhale, twist, 2, 3, and center. Notice if it's easier to twist to one side than the other. Notice if it's easier to twist with arms straight or elbows bent. On this last one, just fold forward. That can be tiring. Good. From here, one last one. In this position, we're going to do our saw. So sit up as tall as you can. Exhale, twist to one side, pinky finger to pinky toe. Sit back up nice and tall. Exhale, twist, pinky finger to pinky toe. 2, 3. And the last one. Good. Walk those legs back to the center. Scoot your hips up so that your knees are bent. And then from here, arms coming back out up front. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Start to round your back a little bit more. From here, marching up with one foot and then the other. Again, hinging at the hip. You decide how low your chest is to make it more challenging. You can lower down further. Either keep marching or maybe hovering in your boat pose and just finding stillness here. Noticing all those tiny muscles adjusting and trying to keep you here. And relax down in butterfly, soles of the feet together, nose to toes. Let your knees open wide. We're going to do one more set in our boat pose, knees back up towards the ceiling, arms out in front, round your back a lot. Either marching or raising straight up into your boat pose, find stillness. Option to hold here and stay, or we're going to try both arms wide, inhaling, exhale, both arms close back together. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Last one. And relax back into butterfly. Knees wide, nose to toes. This time, maybe taking one hand and pressing one knee down gently. And then other side. One hand to one knee, pressing down gently. Perfect. One last deep breath in towards the middle. From here, we're going to crisscross the legs, sitting forward if you're not already. Sit up nice and tall. Find maybe some new length through the spine. And then from here, we're going to frame one knee, one hand on either side. Slowly lower your chest towards that knee until you feel a nice stretch on the opposite side of your low back. Keep your hips anchored down, meaning don't let that other hip pop up. And then walking both hands over to the other side. One hand on either side of that knee, and then slowly lower the chest down. As you inhale, really expanding your rib cage as much as you can. And then from here, clasping your hands together, reach your hands forward and your upper back backwards, rounding your back as much as you can. Again, filling up into those ribs. Maybe you take both hands to one side and the other side. Back to the center. Reach your hands back behind you, open your chest and look up towards the ceiling. Inhaling and exhale. Sit up tall again. Roll your shoulders back for 2. Pressing them down away from your ears. On this next one, inhale, shoulders up towards your ears. Squeeze your toes, your eyes, every single muscle that you possibly can. All that tension and pressure and stress in. And then exhale, shake it out and relax it down. One more like that. Inhale, up and in. And exhale, just letting it go. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you have any questions about any of the exercises we did or anything that I talked about, please feel free to ask.
Thank you. Thank you.